He said we're live.
We're live or we're Memorex. I'm not sure which. We're live. Well, welcome everyone to Funny Talk with Mongelli and Max. I'm Tom Mongelli.
Don't get to stop.
What? Stop.
We have technical stuff we have to do.
We're technologically impaired.
I've got to do some sharing, and then everyone will know what we're doing.
No.
I'm going to share on my timeline.
So I'm just going to babble while you're doing that. If
And
you don't
I'm
mind.
going to share on your page.
Right. So if anybody's watching us,
That would be nobody. No, we actually, we have tens of thousands of international listeners.
and nobody in the United States.
Actually, the biggest group, by 40% of our listeners are from the U.S.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is Funny Talk with Mongelli and Max. I'm Tom Mongelli, and that's Doug Max.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We're now a ventriloquist act.
He does all my my smart talking for me. I know when to be quiet, and he'll fill up with something very intelligent. So hello everyone, welcome to Funny Talk. First of all, we would like to thank our sponsor,
Yes.
J. Irwin Productions, the wonderful Jack Hoffman. If you're interested in a comedy show, a fundraiser, laughing, having comics come to your what would be an odd room in a house to perform comedy in?
The bathroom.
Other than the bathroom.
Mhm.
Kitchen.
Kitchen.
Basement.
Attic.
J. Irwin.
Productions.
Write to Jack at jirwinproductions.com.
Correct. And they put on amazing shows. They have two coming up that I know of. One is January 10th at the Old 76 House in Tapan, New York. I performed there myself. It's a great place. The food is awesome. And they have a rich history. And they happen to be haunted.
You said they were great shows coming up, but neither of us is on those shows.
So how great could they be?
They could be very good shows.
Okay. I sit corrected. But anyway,
That's what the chiropractor said.
yes.
Something like that.
January 10th, the Old 76 House, and the comics that are going to be performing, very funny, Chris Monty, Adam Oleanis, is that how you say it?
I believe it's more like Oleander with a SIS at the end.
Alrighty. And there's
Oleansis.
Scott Brennan will be there, and Lynette Palladino. And you can get tickets on brownpapertickets.com. That's January 10th, the Old 76 House, Tapan, New York. Another one that's coming up January 26th, it's the Bergen Fire Training Center fundraiser at St. John the Evangelist Church in Bergenfield. That's going to be a great show too. Joey Cola, Chip Ambrosio, and David Suarez. For tickets, call Jerry. That's Jerry at 201-240-0414.
That's great. But now there's a comedy show at a church and not one Jew. Suarez? No.
No. Ambrosio? No. Cola? What's Joey Cola? A soft drink? No.
He's great over ice.
I heard that.
Actually, you know something I heard? I heard this from Bar Rescue. You're not supposed to put things over ice. You're supposed to add the ice afterwards because, like with carbonated stuff, it takes the fizz out.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. When it comes to trivia, you're full of it.
Well, thank you. And listen, please call in. Please call in because otherwise it's only Tom and me talking about stuff.
Stuff is in this year.
And I do want to thank our international listening audience.
I want to thank International House of Pancakes.
Frederick, by the way, thank you for the waffle from Belgium. I didn't. I'm sorry, I didn't share.
That's okay. Too many carbs for me.
And Inga, please, there's a woman in my life. You've got to stop sending tulips.
How many lips would you like?
But I'm bummed.
So anyway, I want to make some selfish plugs of my own shows, if you don't mind.
No, I'm just going to sit here and cry about... Go on.
All right.
We've got a show coming up together. We're both excited.
That's
about,
right.
but you go on.
Besides that show, I have January 12th at Stangl Stage. It's Stangl Stage Comedy Night in Flemington, New Jersey.
With the lovely Joey Novick.
Joey Novick is putting it together. It's for the Flemington Historic Society. I've done it like 4 or 5, maybe 6 times, and always willing to help out. They're always a great crowd, great audience. Also, Friday, January 18th, a comedy fundraiser I'm going to be doing with Uncle Floyd Vivino, at St. Leo's Church on Market Street in Elmwood Park. That should be a good show. We always have fun when we do a show together. And right after
Another
that...
show I'm not on.
Yep. Well, a show that you are on Sunday, January 20th. Tierney's Tavern in Montclair.
But I'm so upset about all
Valley
these
Road.
other shows I'm not on. I have no idea what kind of comedy I'm going to do on the 20th.
Well, you can't be on all the shows.
I won't be able to do my comedy that night.
Well, you can do my comedy.
I should do your comedy.
I think that's what we should do. We should do each other's comedy. The Skinny
But
Jew.
you have all these fat jokes. How are people going to believe that I'm fat?
That'll make it funnier. The Skinny Jew does the fat Italian.
How do we set it up so that people go on that? I could do your set. I know your set pretty well.
I know you do. And I know yours said pretty well.
I think you do too.
So how do I pass myself off as a Skinny Jew?
You gotta feel like you're complaining about everything. There's something wrong with everything around you. That start off with that.
Okay.
And that's not all. I shouldn't say that's not all Skinny Jews. That's me.
Okay.
This is me. I have to be you. You'd have to be me.
So we'd be channeling each other's comedy essence.
If I'm gonna take in your essence, Tom, I think it needs to be more than a channel. It needs to be a canal.
Fine.
And if you want to take in my comedy essence, you have to wear a clothespin on your nose, keep your mouth closed, cover your ears. You can't take anything in, and that will be. I think that might be the essence.
Okay.
Because once people know that you're doing comedy, yeah.
Well,
Why does it appear that we're not moving?
if you're in the North Jersey area,
we are.
come to Tierney's on January 20th. Doug and I will both be performing together, and we may or may not be doing each other's act.
Tom, you know what? I don't want to go to this show cold. I think we should practice.
You mean here?
I think we should. What else have we got going on? You guys have anything you want us to do tonight?
Like what?
You need
Yeah,
an oil
see?
change? Anything?
You know, I actually did an oil change for a comedian, and he's like, how about the spark plugs? I'm like, okay. So I did his spark plugs, and I did brakes. And he's like, do you know how to do drum brakes? I'm like, no. He's like, I got a video. So I might be helping him. Is it safe, you think, for me to help him with his drum brakes?
Just make sure he has a snare.
Can I tell you something? He's politically opposite of me. So how wrong could I go?
Hmm.
Put them on backwards. You can put them on backwards.
You know, it's a drum brakes in the rear, and they do. They're not symmetrical.
Yeah, the small shoe goes in the front, and the back shoe is the longer one.
No, the way to really do this is to put the brake drums in the front with the caliper, and in the back, like slam the pads in somehow.
Oh, God.
Okay, those of you who aren't auto mechanics don't know. I'm sorry. Did I
Speaking of
interrupt?
auto mechanics.
Were we talking about something?
I did want to mention the other comics that are going to be on that show at Tierney's. Besides the great Doug Max and myself, there's going to be Donna Vassals,
The great Donna Vassals.
the great Donna Vassals, Tracy Locke,
The great Tracy Locke.
the great Natty Bumper Car,
The great Natty Bumper Car.
Suzanne Linfante,
The great Suzanne Linfante.
and Victor Ponte.
And I don't know Victor.
I don't know either.
The great, the potential, he might be the best of the bunch. I know everybody else.
Could be. I don't
Oh,
know.
really? You know something? One of the nice things about Tierney's, and seriously, people, if you live in or around Montclair, New Jersey, North, even if you're in New York, it's worth it. It's I think it's a $15 show.
This one
You
is
get-
this one is a fundraiser, so it's more expensive. It's
Just a wonderful tavern, and the impresario of the show, Pat Grion, is a wonderful comedy impresario. And she only puts people together on shows that are nice people, that are good, that love one another. And it's the only place I've ever done comedy where we have a comedians team meeting beforehand. We go through the rules.
Yep.
you
Huddle.
know, keep it classy.
Mm-hmm.
And
Now, this particular show is a comedy catalyst show, which means they're raising money for a good cause. This time, it's the St. Jude Children's Research Hospital.
how do you spell Saint who?
Jude.
Oh, it's my hearing. Okay.
What?
I thought you said Saint Jew, and I thought, and then I started thinking of roast beef like au jus.
Doug is a
Tom,
veritable
you should
stream
do
of consciousness.
You should do an au jus, and I would love to be on it. You should do an au juice show.
So anyway,
Anyway.
getting back to my plugs, I'm also doing January 25th. That's a Friday at the Station Bar and Grill in Cranberry. No cover charge, great food.
Run by the lovely Mike Bonner.
Mike Bonner and Patty Bonner. Tuesday, February 12th, I'm going to be in a competition at Scotty's Comedy Cove in Springfield, put together by New Jersey 101.5. The top 3 performers out of 10 will get to perform again at Scotty's on the 22nd and 23rd, I believe it is.
Wow.
With Bill Spadia and a bunch of the guys at the radio station.
Well, I found out about that too late and applied too late, so I probably won't get on, but I'm going to, since we're talking about it, I'm going to do what I can about it.
See if you can get on. Now, I just want to mention this. Last year, as you know, in 2018, I was the winner of the Meadowlands Comedy Festival. And they just announced this year's festival, which I have to go and defend my title. So I may be getting 2 years in a row, or I could be get kicked in the ass.
Would you be upset if I came and beat you, Tom?
No, not at all.
See, now now how many people could you say that to? Like if another comic said, "Would you be upset if I beat you?" What are the odds that you'd say, "I'd cry. I'd cry for weeks"?
No,
I was once beaten by a comic. I was funnier then.
really.
Yeah.
Well, some of these competitions are not really on the
beautiful.
level.
She was beautiful.
Really?
Yeah, not level. Yeah. Okay. So Tom,
Yes.
I like the idea of our pretending to of our doing one another's acts.
Okay. I would consider it a challenge.
Yeah. So, like I said, I think I know your act pretty well.
Now,
How
could
do we set it up though? We have to prep it for me. So, how do we prep their mindset of me being fat? How do we tell them that?
You could say that you're attempting to be Tom Mongelli, who happens to be a tad overweight.
We can go up. How about we go up together
Yeah.
and do something together a little bit so they get the visual.
Okay. Yeah, we'll set it up. We'll talk together. We'll do like a little Smother Brother kind of intro.
We'll figure something out for that. But then I think we should we do a brain transference like right there on stage? Like a slinky, connect a slinky.
You know how on a lot of these sitcoms they had the brain transplants? We can have funny bone transplants. Now, you doing
it.
you doing me doing you. Should we open it up for improvement? Like if you have added things you want to add to it?
If you can make my routine funnier, all the power to you, buddy.
I'm not a magician. I'm a comic.
I get that. Julia Scotti said I was a great straight man. I really, people have it easy. They
You would be a great
They
straight
can,
man.
and you know what? I think it is because I come across as cocky, so everybody wants to knock me down, so that people feel very comfortable insulting me, and they know I'm going to take it, even though they don't know I go home, and cry.
You're
And
subject
then
to.
when I see this video tomorrow, I'm gonna say, "Oh, that hurt." So, okay, so we do that. Who should go first? Me doing your set or you doing my set?
um,
What's funnier, Doc?
I think you're both funny.
I think
No
you
help.
should do me
No
first.
help.
You should do me, not do me, but
Should I do you with an Italian accent,
No.
like your Uncle Sal?
no, please, Uncle Vinny. That was horrible.
I could do you as
Uncle
a
Vinny,
Yiddish,
if you're watching or listening,
I could do you as
bad
a,
accent.
could I do you as a fat Yiddish man?
That would be funny. I don't
let's
know if it
try
would translate as well.
So okay, so let me practice. Let me practice.
Go ahead.
Bring me up.
All right. Coming to our stage, hold on to your hats, is the very funny Tom, what?
Mongellowitz.
Tom Mongellowitz.
Hello, thank you. Hey, I almost didn't make it here tonight. I was in court all day. The food court at the mall. You get it? But I'm bum.
All right. We need to preface this.
Yeah, we shouldn't do that.
We need to preface. You have to picture Doug as a 350-pound Italian sweaty ginzo.
Thank you for that lovely introduction. Hey, thank you for. So I almost didn't make it here tonight. Oh, we already did that. So I'm at the food court, and this woman walked by with a shirt that said "Guess." I said, 350. He ate my Cinnabon. Then we started dating. And things have been great. Things have been great. Only thing, when we're together intimately, I want a spoon. The closest we can get is ladling. You get that?
Bada boom.
I know I did that differently. Anyway, so I'm pretty upset. I'm pretty upset, Tom. Doug.
I'm pretty upset over your representation of that joke. Can I do a little of Doug?
Ladies and gentlemen, Doug Maxelli.
Okay.
Oh, we know a Dolcelli.
Yes,
Doug,
we do.
Yeah, Doug Maxelli.
Well, I'm just gonna put. I'm gonna record myself in the outside chance I actually say something funny. It hasn't happened yet, but you never know. It could happen. So, I'd like to announce that I've been happily married for 2 months. Unfortunately, that's within a 20-year marriage. Now, this is hard for me to say, but I had to have a procedure in order to have sex again. Divorce.
I think I had to go through a procedure. I don't know if you have. Yeah, anyway,
right.
very funny. That was a funny line, Tom.
Now, all of my married friends say that what a wonderful institution marriage is. Divorce, that's a wonderful institution. I'm out there dating again, meeting new people, even more than when I was married. Has anybody tried computer dating? I'm on plenty of gefilte fish. Yeah, J-Date and Plenty of Fish, they merged. Hey, it was better than TinderMatch.com. I logged in and my laptop caught fire. TinderMatch.com. Anyway.
I like the gefilte fish. I like that.
I thought it was kind of
That's
cute.
pretty good.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, so I got tickets to go to Jimmy Buffett. I thought it was an all-you-can-eat buffet. Later, I followed the Meals on Wheels tour. I got to see Corn, Meatloaf, Chili Peppers, Limp Bizkit. I was the only one in line with the doggy bag.
You're the only comic I know who needs a translator. The woman doing the sign language would be funnier.
You reminded me of it was somewhere there was a signer, and it might have been at a political event,
It was Giuliani's something or other.
but this woman was beautiful.
Oh,
This woman was incredible, and she was like a crazy mover, and you could tell all the TV guys were looking at her because the camera was like veering more towards her than okay. So you know, I've had problems with. I've been gaining weight ever since the operation.
what operation?
I was cesarean.
No, 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 no.
Anyway, you know it's horrible going through life like this. I've tried every diet there is to man. I've tried Fatkins, Overcheaters Anonymous. I was on Jenny Craig till she yelled at me, "Get off!" And of course, I'm 100% olive oil, all Italian, all three sides of the family. And, you know, Italian just oozes from my family. Even my dog knows he's Italian. He's got this gold chain with the little, Saint Metal, Saint Bernard. He's got his doghouse. Tom, Doug, this is crazy. His doghouse, it's brick. It's got a basement floor. It's totally finished with marble, a complete kitchen. He hangs out in front of the doghouse with the toothpick in his mouth. We call him, what do we call him?
Gabagool.
Gabagool. Gabagool. He's nice. But my cat, I have a lot of problems with my cat.
Why is that?
It just acts up. It thinks the house is hers. And I have to, you know, sometimes I have to show it who's boss. So the other night I get home, I forget it and knock down something. I started chasing it around the house with chopsticks, yelling at it, "You're number 69, you're number 69." But I don't know what would be best. I'm thinking cat and broccoli. Anyway, I love her. I call her Joey Bag of Donuts.
Now, you realize by saying his name, you realize it's a he, not a she.
There was a female Joey in some TV show, but okay. I realize now.
Joe, the facts of life.
Okay. Did I have any other funny bits?
Yes.
Or did you do it all?
No. I have an advantage over all the other men doing online dating.
What's that?
I can smell. Wait. No, I can spell. I'm sorry. When I get 2, 2, and 2 right, I can sense the woman getting hot for me.
When I spell.
Yeah. Okay.
When I spell.
When I spell 2, 2, and 2, woman gets hot for me. I'll give you contractions.
Hey, you've totally butchered that. This is the way you do that. You go.
How do you like it?
Let me show you how you do that.
Go ahead.
You go. Blah blah blah. I can spell. If I write to a woman and spell 2, 2, and 2 right, I can see her getting all hot for me. Ladies, do you look for good spelling and punctuation in your guys? You do, right? Can I tell you something? I'll put the apostrophe where you like it. I'll give you contractions. There's always one or two people that actually think those are funny.
Oh, I think
And then
it's
I
fun.
make a comment, and then I make a comment. There's always one or two of you that think dirty punctuation humor is funny. I've got it. I don't get it, but I've got it.
I'm trying to formulate a period joke.
Yeah, I decided you don't want to do that.
No, I don't think so.
I tried doing, I did it one time, an ellipsis joke,
Uh-huh.
and it got a great laugh, but it was disgusting.
Uh-huh.
We don't need to talk more about it. I'll
Okay.
tell you about it later.
You know, I had an aunt who had part of her colon removed, and she was left with a semicolon.
So I want to tell you a story about my Uncle Vinny and Grandma Nina.
Oh, okay.
Vinny and Nina. I'm channeling you again, Tom. For the listening audience, I'm doing another Tom joke. And this is actually not a Tom joke. This is the Tom story that I think is funnier than any of his. I mean, that I think is very funny. But he told it, and then I messed it up. But I always heard it a different way. Anyway, the way I heard the story is: so I'm over at my family's house, big Italian family, having a celebration for everything. We celebrate everything. I think this was the feast of the Italiano Grande, that Italians. Anyway, so somehow or another, my Uncle Vinny gets into it with his mom, my Grandma Nina. And they have this huge, huge fight. I don't know what it's about. I'm picking up the outskirts. But at some point, I see right in front of Grandma Nina, Uncle Vinny picks up the phone and he calls up, I understand, he's calling up my cousin Tony, who owns a mortuary like a mile down the street. And he calls up Tony, he goes, Tony, you gotta come and get Nina. Anyway, he hangs up. Within 5 minutes, Tony is there at the door. My grandma, I have to explain. My grandma Nina is 90 years old. Her skin is like white as white. She has long white hair, but she keeps it up in a bun. She was wearing this long white robe, but she had her hair down, so it was draped down to her hair. Pasty skin. In the room was like dark behind her, and the robe went down to the floor, so it looked like she was kind of floating. Anyway, the next scene is Cousin Tony opens up the door to the house and sees Nina standing there. He almost had a heart attack. He thought it was her ghost.
That's the sound of crickets, Doug.
Tom, when you
They're
told
Italian
me that,
crickets.
when you told me that the first time, however I heard it, it was very, very funny. I can't argue with you because you didn't laugh, and it's your story. But the first time I heard that, it was hysterical. How did you?
Now, this is how the story really goes, Doc.
Okay.
It wasn't Uncle Vinny. It was Uncle Henry. He was the. You know how every family's got one crazy relative. Well, this was him, crazy Uncle Henry. Alcoholic, he popped pills, he never worked a day in his life, he got out of the army on a Section 8. Truly nuts, this guy, all right? Funny as all hell, but he was crazy. And he used to get drunk, and he used to pull pranks. So he was drunk one night, it's 2 a.m, and he decides to call Fiala Funeral Home, which everybody in my family got buried through Fiala's funeral home. There was this big guy called Jack that worked there. He looked like Lurch. So, drunk off his ass, he calls Jack at Fiala's and says, my great-grandmother, we called her Grandma Jaca, it was Francesca. We couldn't pronounce it when we were younger. So, Grandma Jaca passed. You have to come pick her up. Now, this is 3 a.m. Lurch comes knocking on the door, and Grandma Jaca comes to the door with the flowing white hair in the robe that looks like she's floating through the house. And Jack is expecting my dead grandmother in a horizontal position. And who comes to the door is Grandma Jaca with everything but a halo and wings. Well, Jack, who can scare the paint off a wall, he got so scared he almost fell backwards down the stairs. He literally almost shit his pants. I thought that we're going to have to bring him to the hospital. So, meanwhile, Uncle Henry, probably passed out and woke up the next day with a headache and didn't realize all this was going down. But he would pull stuff like this. Crazy Uncle Henry. That was the story.
So you told a story. I don't know if you told it on air about your cousin giving you the gift in the shirt box. I don't want to repeat that story. But I forget what you had given him that prompted that gift.
Yes.
Was it the same thing? You gave him cat poop or something?
No, that was my cousin Albert. He was the youngest of the cousins. I was the oldest of the cousins.
You gave him like a bunch of crap or something, right?
My Grandma Nina, asked me to throw the garbage out before the rest of the company came. So I put it in the big box, wrapped it up with a sign that says, "To Albert, love Santa."
Yeah.
So they get to the house. Albert's eyes wide as a plate's. Can we open the gifts? Can we open the gifts? No, we have to eat first. Well, an Italian takes 15 hours to eat.
Yeah, I know that.
So all day long, can we open the gifts? Finally, Uncle Sal says, okay, let's go open the gifts. He runs into the other room, starts tearing open
He's
that
how
big
old
box.
now? He's like
He might be
9,
I don't even
11
think
at
he,
that
no,
time?
I think he was younger than that. He might have been 6.
Oh, Tom.
Yeah. So he opens the box, he starts pulling it out, and he's got like banana peels and coffee grinds and filters, and his face just dropped, and he looked like somebody just killed his puppy. And all the adults all moaned in unison and
Every
looked at
eye
me.
looked at you, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So he gets back at me. He waits 10 months for my
Don't.
birthday.
Don't.
I'm going to do the abbreviated version. He gave something to me that I didn't want. Let's put it that way. But he was saving up since the previous December. My birthday's in October. And we'll let the rest
Yeah.
fall at the seams.
So, have you ever planned any practical jokes that you never did because you thought
Oh,
they
yeah.
made you feel better planning them?
Yes. Oh, I used to do it. Here's my favorite. I used to go, the whole family used to go every summer to Wildwood Crest, the Armada Motel, room 402. Same hotel, same room every year, 10 days in August. Finally, I get old enough where I don't have to go with my parents. So I'm left behind. My parents and my brother are down in Wildwood. Here's what I wanted to do. I wanted to put a for sale sign on the front lawn that said sold, change the name on the mailbox to Washington, put an old beat up Chevy in the driveway, and have a black man answer the door when they got home. What you want?
That would have been great.
And I had the guy to do it too. He agreed to do it. But that's the one that got away. I never did get a chance to do that one.
You reminded me of one of my favorite little. So many of my I can't do them as stand up because they're just like a little, like a cartoon image almost. So the cartoon is the time this black guy called me discolored.
Discolored?
Discolored.
Okay, that's a new one.
It was a friendly exchange, honestly, because I was helping a friend of his who's also black. I was helping him with his car. So I was driving his BMW 7 Series to a shop. And his friend, this other black guy, saw me driving his friend's car, and it's like, what's this? A week or two passes, and I'm there talking to my friend, and the guy that saw me, and I knew him, I recognized him. And I said, I can't remember his name, I think it was Mike. I go, so Mike, what did you tell Ben when you saw me in your car? He goes, I said, Ben, there's some discolored guy in your car. Anyway, I just loved that. I just thought that was absolutely
Discolored.
perfect. Yeah.
Now, I don't know what made me think of this, but when you were growing up, did you ever get bullied?
We used to have aggressive snowball fights and stuff like that. I remember one time, actually, the one time I was bullied was was 8th grade, first day of 8th grade, and there was a roaming guy of bandits in our middle school coming around. One of them turned out to be Willie Wilson, professional baseball player. And one of his friends that was with him punched me in the chest. Initiation for freshmen. But Willie said he's a sophomore. So I got off. I think that was it. And then I got in one fight with Mark Kias in 6th grade, who was a foot taller than me. I was 4'6" at the time. And he said he could beat me, and I said, no, you couldn't. And the next thing I know, the two of us are fighting after school, surrounded by, like a circle of 50 kids in the class. And I've got him down on the ground, and I heard kids yelling, punch him in the face, punch him in the face. I didn't. I was like, hitting his, I'm not going to punch him in the face, but I remember that was horrifying to me. That's what these people wanted. They wanted me to punch him in the face.
I've never been in a fight, a fist fight. I was always 3 times the size of my classmates. And one time in 3rd grade, I was brand new to the school. We just moved from Union City to Wayne. Derek Bohr, who was like the class bully, I guess you would call him, he had me up against the brick wall at recess, and he was about to punch me in the face, and I moved, and he punched the wall.
Good move.
And that's when the bell rang for everybody to go back into class.
Wow.
That was the closest I've come to A fist fight.
Wow. Hey, and I want to say a shout out to my possible friends that might be listening because they have no lives at E46 Fanatics. You know what an E46 is?
That's no.
Doc?
What's that?
You know what an E46 is?
Is that off a jukebox?
That's my model BMW, made from 98 to 2006, 3 Series. And I'm very, you know how many miles my car has? Doc, I don't know if you remember my bragging.
200-some thousand?
What's your guess?
About 200,000.
368.
Wow.
Coming up on 369.
That's a lot of miles.
Yep.
I'm impressed.
You know what? You know, I've said this at a number of comedy shows. I'll say something like, you know, I'm Jewish, but I just changed the alternator in my car, and people laugh. Okay, tell me what's funny about that? Because are Jews known to not be candy?
I'm laughing because he's laughing.
See,
Oh, that's your excuse?
typically,
So it wasn't funny, right? But people laugh.
or stereotypically, Jews don't fix things. They call someone to fix things.
That's true.
But there's another way of looking at the Jew, and that's the, you know, I heard the story was a woman said there's no job her husband wouldn't do if he got to buy a tool. So, you know, when we moved into our home, you know, listen, I ended up doing an entire bathroom, wiring, electrical, plumbing.
I did an entire bathroom here last show.
Okay, so stop. Let us not speak of this again.
I'm
So,
sorry.
And you know, and I'll tell people, you know, like even though I'm Jewish, I do electrical and plumbing and replaced my positive crankcase ventilation.
Have you ever called Ancestry.com? I don't think you are Jewish.
Julia Scotti found out she was 2% Jewish. I wonder what would be an odd thing to find that I am.
2% milk?
That would be an odd thing.
Here, Doug.
Okay, so callers, thank you for all your calls. What did he say? 3%, right?
No, he said the creamier Doug. Lactose intolerant comedy.
Oh, you know, you just made me think of another diet idea.
I'm sorry, audience.
So my girlfriend, a girlfriend I once possibly might have had. Let me back up. Nothing to do with my girlfriend at all,
Okay.
which I love, who I love. So I realized that, well, okay, I don't want to say what she's allergic to, but she's got a food allergy or two. And so whatever she eats, I'm sorry, some of the things that I like to eat, she can't eat.
Right.
But I thought of what a great diet if you were, how do you work that out? If you, no, never mind.
That was enthralling.
Comedy. We were talking at dinner about how this whole thing about comedy having to have punchlines, I think it's totally overrated.
And you continually to prove that.
Tom, but you know, listen, if you listen, who is famous for bomb lines?
Bomb lines?
Bomb lines. Who got more laughs from the bomb lines than,
Oh, Johnny Carson.
of course. Yeah. The goal is to make people laugh. I don't care if they're laughing at me most of the time. Okay, so are there any other material of yours I should be thinking of doing?
Well, the stupid funny.
Oh, I totally forgot. So I live in Tom now. So I moved to Lakehurst. You know what Lakehurst is famous for?
The Hindenburg
The
explosion.
Hindenburg disaster. Yeah. There's a really clever diner in town. I love it. The Lakehurst Diner. They have a Hindenburger on the menu.
Do they?
They do. They put a Nuremberger on the menu too on a trial basis.
I get it.
I knew you would. It's yours. Anyway, so I asked the guy. I was doing a comedy show in Lakehurst, and I went to I went to the diner and I said I'd like some orange juice. He goes, "We don't serve that. It's too acidic. If you want acidic juice, go to Lakewood." Did I get that close?
It was close. You screwed up the setup. You didn't establish that Lakewood has the Hasidic Jewish population.
Okay. I got to do that.
Yeah, but I know that. That's why I laughed.
Right.
Who
Now,
were-
did the waitresses have aprons with little Nazis?
Yeah, I can't do that.
No.
There's only one Holocaust-related joke I can do. Maybe two.
Now, the diner
Oh,
also...
Doug, what are those?
What are those, Doug? I'm sorry. I was writing jokes as you were talking.
No, I probably told it on air. Do we have time? Yeah, we have
Got
time.
nothing but
I'll
time.
tell it later. Work into a segue so I can. This is what you call a teaser. So now the people that are listening to us, they'll stay on for another minute or two, hoping they'll hear that.
Okay.
And it's not inappropriate. Jews, you will not be offended. You'll laugh.
Now, you mentioned the Hindenburger. That happens to be a flaming hamburger on a Kaiser roll with German potato salad and sauerkraut.
Sauerkraut.
Yeah.
Okay.
The customers love it, but they can't seem to
Flaming-
keep it down.
Wait, the customers what?
The customers love it, but they can't seem to keep it down.
Okay, good. I once told the guys on my car forum that I filled up my tires with hydrogen and I could drive over creeks and it would float.
And they believed you?
Well, you know something? I troll really well. I've convinced these guys. I actually have a Photoshop to prove it. The kids come on. I just got this BMW, which is now 20 years old. I just got this BMW. What can I do to make it look better? I want to mod. Should I put a wing on? What color can I paint it? What color could I paint the wheels or whatever? So I tell people I paint my tires. And I went into this whole thing. And I'm very serious. I'm like, you can't just spray it. You have to, preparation is key. You've got to sand it. I did 400 grit and then 200 and worked down to 100. and then oh no, the other way. And then you have to use a flexible body primer. I did like 3 coats of flexible body primer, then body paint, and then I did a clear. I chose a satin so it didn't glow and look gaudy, And then I go on. I'm like, it's great. All the guys in New Jersey are doing it now.
Oh, no.
So I'll tell you, even though this is now my car is almost 20 years old, there are over now maybe 150,000 members of the forum.
Is that right?
150,000. There were up to over 300,000 at a time. Anyway, I posted that I'm doing it, so they might be listening and leaving like right away. But no, I did some great trolls. There was a guy wanting a rear wing, and I told him about my design, taking a 4x8 sheet of plywood and rigging up 2x4 struts on the roof. And I'm like, oh no, I know what you think, but I did it. I like rounded the edges and painted it with gloss and filled in, and I'm like I'm really serious about doing this the right way.
Do you know my Uncle Henry?
What was my other? But I had a friend of mine in Australia from the car forum took a photo of my car and made green tires, and so I posted it up there. And
Nice.
people are really, but the people that
Why
know
settle
me,
for white walls?
the people that go back like 12 years now on the car forum, they know me
Uh-huh.
and it's so hysterical. Only to me. Again,
Well, I was
like
going to
always.
say, yeah, you should get used to that by now.
I'm sorry, audience, especially those of you in countries that I wonder what would people think? What countries are listening to us, Doc?
Do we have any listeners from Mexico? Or does the wall mess up the reception?
It's not. It might be slats. I had another idea for the southern border. I thought if we combine something that our country does so well, bigotry, with the other thing we do great, capitalism, we should have a southern border mall.
Southern
A mall,
Border
a
Mall.
huge mall, the Southern Border Mall, and we'll have rear entrances for the Mexicans and immigrants to come in, and we'll all meet, and there'll be like a neutral area. We'll have a food court.
With Cinnabons?
I started thinking about what should be there. There should be south of the border.
Chalupas.
I don't know how to. What's the Taco Bell south of the border? What's that? Anyway, I don't know. I didn't get any further with that one either, Tom. There's the Southern Border Mall.
Okay.
So what ideas do you have for protecting our country from the... Are you frightened of the illegal baby immigrants coming and taking, raping you and
Frightened?
having their
No.
way with you?
No.
Okay.
I can use a good raping.
The number is 609-807-2492. You have to buy him dinner first, ladies.
I'll tell you who we got listening.
Who do we have listening?
We have France listening.
Oh, bonjour.
Italy.
Oh, buonanotte. Oh, it's the
That's
middle of the night
Italian.
in France.
Turkey
Turkey.
with gravy.
I love turkey.
We have Vietnam listening. Ukraine, Germany, India, Singapore, and then of course United States. And the top listening country city would be the state is California.
Ah,
Wow.
New Jersey is number 2.
Wow.
it smells like number 2.
Wow. Come on, Jersey.
You ever drive down the turnpike?
We're in Jersey. Why
you got
should
a phone
California
call.
be listening?
You guys got a phone
You know,
call.
We have a phone call.
I do drive down the turnpike, and it smells in a number of places.
Who's our phone call? Welcome. Welcome,
Hey, Gene, it's Jack.
Jack. How you doing?
Hello, Jack.
How are you?
Good.
Oh,
Ladies
Jack,
and
I'm right
gentlemen.
online. Okay.
this is Jack Hoffman from J. Irwin Productions. We mentioned him earlier.
People of Turkey,
Yeah.
we know him as Jack Hoffman of J. Irwin Productions.
So what's
I
doing,
love
Jack?
the way you plug that.
I wanted to translate for our Turkish friends.
Oh, I love Turkish taffy.
Yeah, me too.
Do you really?
No, I haven't had it in about 40 years.
Yeah, I was going to say, I
probably.
remember it was a treat. It was a treat on the boardwalk. I love that.
No,
Although
that's
it was
salt
salt
water.
water.
No, that's
is that
saltwater taffy.
different than Turkish?
Yes. If you ever watch Wonderama with Bob McAllister, they used to give Turkish taffy as a consolation prize.
It was made by a company named Bonomo.
That's right. Bonomo, Turkish taffy.
Jack, our show on Bonomo is coming up in, I think that's in March. So no more on.
You know whose birthday is today?
Wait a minute.
Elvis Parsley.
No.
Yeah, Elvis.
Who?
Corporal Agon. Larry Storch
Oh.
is 96.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Larry
And
Storch.
Mazel tov.
I was with him 2 nights ago,
That's right.
and they did a great show at the Triad. Bill Kirkenbauer came with me.
Uh-huh.
Do you remember Bill
I
Kirkenbauer?
do. Very nice guy.
Yep, he's a stand-up comic, and was one of the stars of Growing Pains, and had his own show called Just the 10 of Us. Jason Pollock was there.
Wow.
Did you guys
Yeah.
talk about me?
Bob Greenberg was there.
I saw him on
And
Facebook.
what was really nice, they had some wonderful singers there. Barbara Harris from the Toys. She sang Lover's Concerto. Remember that hit? And some of the other great background singers, Louise Murray and Margaret Williams. They did all the background singing for a lot of the hits in the 50s and 60s.
Wow.
So it was a nice show. It really wasn't. For 96 years old, he did great.
Yeah, I saw pictures.
you
He
know,
looks looks good.
Yep, he looks great.
Now I wonder.
And as the women were singing, he was singing along, so he remembered the words. It was
Wow.
great. 96, boy.
God bless him.
That's one hell of a run.
I wonder if he's ever been back to Passaic.
He was in Passaic, 2 years ago when he got the key to the city.
Oh, okay.
There should be a song
Just-
called Back to Passaic.
No, there should.
Unfortunately, that mayor of Passaic, I think, is in jail now.
Okay, well. Anyway, so you didn't answer my question. You guys talk about me there at that thing with Larry?
Actually, Larry Storch, he asked me, he said, have you seen Doug Mack? And I said, I'll give you my
Thank you.
best.
You know
So-
something? I want to make a comment about Larry Storch and actually the entire cast of F Troop. I watched every episode, and I heard recently, maybe it was CNN talking, and they said, when people make you laugh, you like you become friendly with them. That's what friends do, and Larry Storch gave me so many laughs. I think of him, I guess, all those people that entertain me consistently week after week.
Jack, here's a bit of trivia. Did you know that John Banner, who played Sergeant Schultz on Hogan's Heroes, was a cast member on F Troop? He was one of the soldiers.
Was
after.
he?
Wow.
Yep.
Was he really?
Yep.
Wow. I think Larry and I can't remember his name, but the guy who blew the horn,
Dobbs.
for Reveille.
Dobbs.
Right, Hobbs.
Dobbs.
They're the only two that are alive now after Ken Berry passed away a couple months ago.
That's right.
Yeah, it's. But anyway, it was great, and on Saturday, because Bill Kirkenbauer was in town from Texas, where he lives, a couple of us, Eddie Brill, Bob Greenberg, Nancy Lombardo, myself, and Bill, we had lunch in the city, and I'll tell you, I'm a fan of comedians and comedy. I sat there for 2 hours, and I listened to these four professionals telling stories. It was heaven. It was great to listen to them. Really was.
Did they make you pay $20 each or something?
Oh,
Free comedy.
I got in free.
I wonder if that's his game. He's he loves comedy so much. And at some point, paying for shows, it gets to be expensive. But if you go out to eat, it's you're paying for food anyway.
You can always pull
So
an
you
Abbott
get
and
comedy.
Costello walking backwards, and they'll think you're leaving.
And we fight over who's going to spend the 25 cents. Remember that one?
But I wish Tom and I...
One of
we
the
could do
Andrews
that.
sisters was waiting on us. What's that?
I said I wish Tom and I could work out that bit, the 7 times
7 times 13 is 28.
28. Yeah.
28, yeah.
Yeah. Great routine.
That's on YouTube. You
Oh,
should
I
be
know.
able
I've
to,
seen it. I've
work
seen
that
it
out
many
real
times.
well.
Well, we could read it, but getting it.
I actually did that as part of my skit for the skit contest in the 1977 statewide Latin convention.
You told me, and I asked you if you did it in Latin, and you said
No.
no. Why would you do that? It's a Latin convention.
We just wore togas.
Do you know what Latin I know as a Jew?
What?
The only Latin I know. My mother plays dominoes better than your mother plays dominoes.
Shouldn't it be Mahjong?
That's all I have. Oh, and et spirit something sancti. What does that mean? Something the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
And when do you say that?
I've never said that. I don't know.
Don't priests say it to you at some point in the... Are you Roman Catholic?
Yes.
Did you take communion?
I'm Roman all over the buffet.
Did you fit in the confession?
Wait a minute. If he's Roman Catholic, are you a wandering Jew?
Can we combine that? How could we combine those and make a great comedy, a great show name? The Wandering...
I think that's it right there.
Yeah.
The wandering Jew and the Roman Catholic.
Uh-huh. I like it.
Tom,
I
that
just
is
gave the
the
Jew
Roman-
top.
That's
I just
great.
gave the Jew top billing there. You know that.
Yeah, I
that is
noticed
great.
that.
It's okay. He got it on the show. We're like Mongelli and Max. Well, what sounds better to you, Tom? I think Mongelli and Max. What about you, Doug? Yeah, I think Mongelli and Max sounds better too. Yeah. That's how we agree.
So, Jack, we brought up your 2 shows coming up.
I heard. I've been listening the whole show.
You know, I tell you,
Sorry. Thank you. Sorry.
I love this.
Wonderful show.
I love this old 76 house place. You got to get me back up there.
We definitely will.
Okay.
Definitely will. And as a matter of fact, guys, and I'll tell you offline, but I'll just mention here that that show where you both were snow driven.
I love that. That was
getting
my
home
best
at 1
night.
in the morning. It's going to be rescheduled the next few
Oh,
weeks,
that's
so I'll
nice.
talk to you offline.
But I'm frightened of
don't
doing it.
threaten us.
Yeah, that was one of my best shows. That was one of my best shows. We got to tell the quick story. This is people. I don't think people understand the life of a comedian.
that bad
So, do you mind,
snowstorm.
Jack? I think it's a wonderful story. Yeah, we're getting a bad
ahead.
snowstorm in New Jersey. There's a show up in New York. We're all looking at the weather during the day. One of the comics goes early on in the day. Is the show still on? She had begun to get hit with snow down in the south, I guess. Anyway, blah 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 blah. Moves on. The guys had planned for this, and I think there were, I don't know how many people, but say 100 or more people. They had homemade pasta made for everybody. All the preparations were done. They'd done them in advance. They're all ready. They don't want to cancel the show. Everybody's committed. They paid for it. Blah 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 blah.
So being the troopers we are,
yeah, we'll go. You know, like
9 hours later,
I wasn't as bad as you. I got about 20 minutes north in regular weather. It took me 2 hours, and then I got the call that they finally canceled and turned around.
Yeah.
My old '96 Toyota Camry, my father's front-wheel drive car, got around beautifully. I was surprised.
well, I was on the road about 9 hours that day. And I tried to get a hotel room when I was up in North Jersey, and everybody had the same idea, so there was no room at the inn. And,
Just the thought of being your bladder is
oh yeah,
mind-blowing.
I 7 hours before I was able to get to a bathroom. That,
Exactly.
yeah.
And that reminds me of another post I did on my car forum where I don't know how it came about, but I told people that I had created an in-car urinal. And I went into this detailed explanation about getting a half-inch hose and hooking it up to a funnel and drilling a hole through the firewall and using silicone caulk. You know, I covered every detail. And, you know, and people are like, what? You know, my friends knew I was totally kidding. But all you do it for is for somebody to say, you know, oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah, well, my uncle Sal, who used to travel from Tom's River to Secaucus every day to go to work, he used to keep one of those large Snapple bottles in the car, and that was his relief.
But the problem is,
You
how
guys,
do you get?
you guys are a pisser.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you get, while you're driving, how do you get to a point where you can use a Snapple bottle? Because I'm leaning back.
That's why God made toll booths.
I've got, what do you call it? Easy
Sorry,
Pass.
we have Easy Pass now.
Yeah.
Easy Piss. You'll make it an easy pass lane and an easy piss lane. And Mr. Max, what are you doing? Get out of the car. What were you doing back there? I thought that was a urinal.
All
That's
right,
where you
all
throw
right.
the change.
All right.
Do you remember those? They still
Yeah.
have those. I don't use them.
I
Right? Do
do.
they still have the big funnels?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway,
You didn't like that. You told your what you got in the shirt box story.
now the interesting part of this story is Jack is the guy who put the whole Easy Pass program together for New Jersey. Isn't that right?
Well, back in 1994, we started it in Staten Island for New York, and in 97, it started in Jersey. We came in 2001 and took over the program.
Wow.
Hey, you don't happen to know a guy, I think his name is Stephen Larcara. He was an engineer that did some work electrically for Easy Pass.
He might have worked for a vendor, another
maybe,
company, or the toll authority. I
Anyway.
worked for the actual company that ran the customer service,
Yeah.
Easy Pass.
Yeah, they do good. I don't know.
See, now if I was running the show at the toll booths, I'd have Toll House cookies.
You are running the show. The two of you are.
Running or ruining?
The show you're on.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Okay, so you would give out
Toll
Toll
House,
House
cookies.
You know, it's
Oh,
actually
that
an
takes a toll on me.
But you know what? Actually, that's an interesting concept. Could the Turnpike and Parkway people? What's the overall body? What's that all called? Who
Well,
runs?
New Jersey Turnpike.
Oh,
Authority.
they're and Garden State Parkway is independent authorities. So some
Right,
reward.
but the Parkway's part of the Turnpike.
Right.
You know, some reward. You go to a restaurant, you buy a meal, they say thank you.
Right.
We drive onto a road, we give them money, we're their customer. Do we get a thank you? Does GPS thank? All is paid. Couldn't they add a little thank you? Have a nice day. Drive safely.
No, what they do to thank you is they send you a bill in the mail saying that you didn't pay the toll that you already paid.
Oh, and that brings up another pet peeve of mine. So there's this whole thing about not texting and driving, right?
Right.
So I'm driving on the turnpike and I read this big billboard sign that says, what does it say? Don't text and drive.
Right.
I'm like reading it. What you want me to look up there on the overhead bridge and look? There's nothing going on up there. How is that different than my looking down at a text on the phone? And then as I'm driving further, I'm seeing the billboards and the speed limit sign and the arrows, and I'm like, get rid of all. You don't want us texting and driving? Get rid of all the street signs, all the billboards, all the ads. Get rid of all the distraction. Because I'll tell you, New Jersey, you're off the hook now. 6 lanes of traffic going 70 or more on the Parkway, 5 inches away from one another is not a good idea.
You know, I was recently
I feel
stopped.
better now.
Doug, I was recently stopped on Route 80 for speeding, and the cop comes to my car. He says, "Do you know how fast you were going?" I said, "I was going the speed limit." He says, "I clocked you doing 80." I says, "That's what the sign says, 80." He says, "That's not the speed limit. That's the name of the highway." The cop says, "Are you really that stupid?" And I didn't say a word. He says, "Well, what do you have to say for yourself?" I says, "I'm just glad you didn't stop me on 287.
I think, you know something? I think that would get you out of a ticket on Route 80.
I don't know about that.
Well, I believe in New Jersey, 72, you're safe at in the 65 zones. But you know something? I get so pissed. It's dangerous. I was on the turnpike again, and there's a section where, construction ahead, 50 miles an hour going over a bridge or whatever. They're still going 65. And you go the speed limit in some places, you're an accident waiting to happen.
I like these out-of-state drivers that don't realize that the speed limit in New Jersey is the lower limit, not the upper limit.
Yeah. But the other thing out of staters, I think they get it. When I used to drive in New York, I'd get like that. Like, I know they're looking down on me from New Jersey, so I'm going to drive extra special aggressive. And now what I do, I just go with the flow. I drive like a taxi cab, maybe cab.
A taxi crab.
Hey guys.
Yes.
Guys, I just realized I'm watching on screen here. Do you know that Scott Brennan has joined us? He's listening in on the show tonight.
Oh, Scott.
Hello, Scott.
Isn't he going to be at the old 76 house?
He's going to be on the 76 house on Thursday night with Adam Oliensis. Chris Monti is going to be the headliner, and Lynette Palladino is the host.
She's as cute as she is funny.
And she's funny.
Yeah.
She is very funny.
I know.
And she's an American hero.
Oh, that's right. She's a vet.
3 tours in Iraq with the National Guard.
Wow.
I should start
And
bringing
she's a
my
new
dad.
mom.
I should start bringing my dad to sit on stage with me.
Definitely. He's an American hero, too.
Yeah.
That's right. Why should you subject
My
him to
favorite,
your
of course,
act?
my favorite hero
That's a
has
good point.
capicola and ham and cheese on it, but that's different.
You know something, Jack? When you run for president, somehow I think that ought to be in your campaign slogan or something.
I'm not running for president.
real
My days
hero.
of politics are way behind me.
That's right. You were in politics, local politics.
Yeah, I was local politics here in Bergenfield. That's 25 years ago.
Wow.
I'll tell you, though, it's much more fun to hang out with comedians. Much more fun.
I'll tell you a story though. My next door neighbor across the street, his kid, when he came to our house trick or treating 25 years ago, he dressed up as John Adams, and I'm like, trick or treat, and he knew. I could ask him anything. At 5 years old, he knew everything about John Adams, and just a few weeks ago, he was elected to the town council in the city.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
Brilliant.
Still
kid.
dressed as John Adams?
No. Although, you know something, I will tell you a funny story about that. My father, as he's 95, so he doesn't have the hair he used to, and he's kind of doing a comb back, comb sideways, kind of whatever. But some of his strands of hair are like 10 inches long. And it all comes together in the back like a curtain. And I had to go into the barber with him. And I said, I know my father has very strong opinions, and I know he told you what he wanted. And I would like you to speak. I wish he would say, do the best you can with me. And I wish you would find a compromise. Because I told my dad, I said, you look like John Adams.
well, I don't know if you remember, Jack, but on TV back in the 70s, Rodney Dangerfield did a TV commercial for I don't remember what store it was, but it was during the President's Day sale, and he was dressed up as Martin Van Buren. Do you remember that, Doc? I'm Martin Van Buren. How come they never have a sale for me? No respect.
Oh, and you know what? A friend of ours is listening in also, Timothy Meyer. And he said he just put on the Facebook page, politicians give him give his soul diarrhea. So I guess he's not a fan of politicians.
Who is these days?
You know something? It's not the politicians' fault. It's our fault.
Why is
And
that?
there's some fundamental things we haven't done. We haven't elected the right people. Citizens United is a real big problem in this country, where you elect people based on the amount of money.
I
they
think
have.
the number one problem in this country, you called Citizens United, and that's surely what it is. But the bottom line is there's too much money, hidden money in politics, and
Amen.
and that's it.
Yep. I do
So,
believe so.
politicians, if you're out there listening, please unhide your money. Send it to me, Doug Max, care of Hamilton Radio. I'll divide it with you, Tom. You too, Jack.
I'm sorry, I'm not looking.
No,
for
many
anything.
countries, they have a limited
you
period
plugged
of
my
time.
show. You
Yeah.
plugged my shows. That's all I need.
No, but many countries, one, if they have three parties, they'll get like 90+% people voting, number one, and they'll have limited election time for 3 months of the year, 4 months, so you're not doing it. These guys have to raise money the minute they get in office. They don't have any time to do anything good for us. They
That's
only
true.
have time to do good for themselves.
A congressman gets elected 1 year. He has to get reelected in 2 years. So the campaign starts 1 year out.
Right.
He's got to raise money now for a year from now. He just got elected.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Anyway, I don't know if you followed this or not, Jack, but I was so fed up with politics all over the world that I decided I wanted to run as supreme leader of the earth. And I actually have a pretty strong cabinet. I've got an editor.
Yeah.
That's important. A black friend of mine is going to be the. He wants to. What does he want to be? He wants to be the blackhead. Oh, and he's bald, so he's perfect for it.
He wants to be the blackhead,
He wants to be the
as in
maybe
pimple?
the head of blacks. Yeah.
Alrighty then.
Okay.
And a gay
And tell
comic.
me more about your cabinet.
A gay
is it
comic I
maple?
have wants to
Is
have
it
dominion
maple
over
or
men.
pine?
It's going to be organic. I heard the show before us. Organic is important.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm sorry. I'm not. I don't want you to think this is going into my head. But I think I'd be a better president than our president. That's all I can say. Oh, I can say more. I think
Definitely.
broccoli would be a better president than our president. Did I hurt anyone's
Oh, but-
feelings out there?
But we know George Bush would never vote for broccoli.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
But then again, George Bush didn't vote for Trump either. I know, right? He brags about that.
Jack, think about what a wonderful time it was in this country where Bush not liking broccoli made serious news. Like it was news for a long time. You know?
Now
It
speaking
was
of,
also before Twitter.
yeah, that's for sure. I used to have a recurring dream of Richard Nixon. I don't know why, but it still disturbs me. I wake up screaming.
What do you scream, Tom?
I am not a crook.
I'm not a crook. I seriously,
That's a good-
every night for I don't know how long, I would dream of Richard Nixon. It was sad.
Now I'm thinking, how
you
cool
mean
would it
every
be?
night you dream of dick?
That's kind of where you wrap things up and say, "Have a good night, everyone." Right?
Well, you know how comics have dick jokes? I have a joke dick. But I digress.
I'm told mine is very nice, but
Okay. Anyway, Jack, I hate to say it, but
Yeah.
it's 10:34 according to the clock over here, and we're supposed to cut out at 10:30.
yeah, well.
Okay, you're getting paid overtime now. Congratulations.
Yeah, call me Tom and a half.
All right, guys, have a
Ton
good
and a
night. It was
half.
great
All
talking
right,
to you.
thanks
Jack,
for
have a
calling
good night.
in,
Thanks
Jack.
for calling in.
Take care.
Okay, do
Bye,
the
bye,
official
bye,
sign
Timothy.
off. This has been Funny Talk with Mongelli and Max. I'm Doug Max.
And I'm Tom Mongelli.
And thank you so much for listening wherever you are in the world. Be safe, be happy, have peace.
Peace, love, and
Love.
Bobby Darin.